The College Football Playoff Committee put out its second iteration of its rankings. Did they get it right? Did they get it wrong? And where is the path to the playoff for all of these teams? Nikola Jokic and Marcus Morris get into it, and people can't decide they can decide what side they're on, but if you're not on Jokic's side, you are absolutely wrong. Inflation is going crazy right now, and it's a major topic for all of us because it looks like we're making more money, but everything at the same time is simultaneously getting way more expensive. NBA players are complaining about the rules. The NBA has changed the rules for the definition of what is a foul, what's not a foul, and what they are going to allow. And I absolutely love it. And the fact that they're crying about it means that the rule is correct. Phoenix Suns owner Robert Sarver finds himself embroiled in a controversy, and his wife can't stay out of people's DMs. And I'm George Wrighster. He's Ralph Amsden, and this is Wrighster or Wrong, the intersection where sports, business, society, and pop culture meet the truth. Absolute fire on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Facts only. Make sure you check your feelings at the door because no BS is allowed. We keep it 100. And you guys leave a 5-star rating wherever you listen to podcasts. And most of all, share it with a friend. Sharing is caring, people. And you guys can get a hold of us, 818-293-7547. Shoot us a text or an email. I'm Matt, IMMAD, @unafraidshow.com. Whew. Ralph, so the college football playoff, they put out their rankings last night. They had Georgia at 1, Alabama 2, Oregon 3, Ohio State 4, Cincinnati 5, Michigan 6, Michigan State 7, Oklahoma 8, Notre Dame 9, Oklahoma State 10, and the next notables are Texas A&M at 11 and Wake Forest at 12. Are you okay with what the committee did?
Yeah, I am. Nothing is set in stone. And that's the nice thing about these weekly updates is you're just checking to see if they're on the right track. And it seems like the gap between 10 and 11 is probably the biggest gap on that entire list. Maybe almost as big as the gap between 1 and 2. But I think that it looks okay to me. The only thing that jumped out at me right away was Oklahoma behind a lot of teams with one loss, and wondering what the justification would be for all of it. Not just maybe one team here or there, but to have them behind Oregon
Oklahoma has
and
not
Ohio
played
State.
one single team that's currently ranked. Not one.
Okay.
So I think that's the rationale behind having them at 8, but they do have games against Oklahoma State and Baylor coming up, and then Iowa State, who will probably be ranked next week too. So they're going to have 3 ranked games to finish the season, which I think gives them the potential to shoot up the rankings. And if they are 13-0, I think that they get in. That they may have to jump somebody, which is not going to be pretty. But the committee is also hoping that somebody loses to make it easy and to make their job, seem like they ended up getting it right.
Right. If teams 2, 3, and 4 win out and Georgia's only loss is to Alabama, then that's your 4.
Yeah.
So that means that Cincinnati could go undefeated and Oklahoma could go undefeated and they'd be on the outside looking in.
Which obviously is not going to – I mean, dude, if you have 2 undefeated teams on the outside, bro, I don't think that that's going to go over well at all.
And then you got to look at, what are the most compelling bowl matchups outside of the college football playoff? What are you going to do with Notre Dame if they win out? If they go 11-1,
they get a New Year's Six bowl.
But would they put them? Would you run Cincinnati and Oklahoma up against each other? Because you're not going to put Notre Dame up against Cincinnati.
Yeah, because they have already played.
or would you steal Cincinnati's ability to take on the other undefeated team and put Oklahoma up against Notre Dame because you get a ton of viewership?
Mm. Dude, that would be a huge game. A
And
huge game.
and I mean, and does Utah have the ability to come out of nowhere and steal a Rose Bowl bid if they, you know, but that would take beating Oregon
Well,
twice.
actually, no. They will likely get a Rose Bowl bid just by winning all their games except for the two against Oregon.
The 5-loss Rose Bowl team, yuck.
Oh, I didn't even consider that part. 5 loss. Yeah, they may bypass, but it'd be tough for them to not take a Pac-12 team. I can't even remember the last time they didn't take a Big Ten team, but a 5 loss team, that would be tough, especially if they were playing against Ohio State or Michigan or you know what I mean, like a one
Yeah.
loss team versus a 5 loss team. They might just that might be an instance where a Pac-12 team doesn't get into the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, this whole thing is extremely fascinating to me. Had San Diego State not lost to Fresno, is that I think they lost to Fresno
Yeah,
or something, then you might have even had the conversation about San Diego State and Wake Forest had they not lost. But the situation that we're in, I love the first 10. The order maybe could be different as far as maybe
what do you think
Oklahoma
about
not being
Michigan
behind.
and Michigan State though? Because that was the thing that puzzled me. They played 10 days ago. Michigan State beat Michigan.
Yeah,
And then Michigan State proceeds to go lose to Purdue. And Gary Barta, the chair of the college football playoff, said, "We believe Michigan's a more complete team than Michigan State." And I'm like, who the fuck cares what you think? They played. They literally played 10 days ago, and we saw what happened. So why would we sit up here and vacillate about, yeah, that I think they're a more complete team. Who
it
cares if they're more complete?
it
They
definitely delivers
lost.
a death blow to the whole, like, well, the only reason that Oregon's ahead of Ohio State, it opens up the possibility for Ohio State to jump Oregon if that's
Correct.
the way the committee thinks,
Correct.
especially because Ohio State is playing 6 and 7 uh, in their upcoming games.
I know.
So yeah, I don't know. I think that this list is nothing matters on this list after 12, and the gap between 10 and 11 is huge, and the gap between 1 and 2 is huge.
All
Um,
right. So,
I don't think anybody outside the top 10 has a shot.
nobody. The only potential ways that people can get in, the outside of the top 10, I think, is actually we will start at number 10 because I don't think that Notre Dame has a shot, right? Because they're going to be a one-loss team without a conference championship. So I think that they're going to be out
Right, and
regardless.
they're dependent upon Cincinnati to keep winning, which would keep them ahead of Notre Dame.
Correct.
So Notre Dame's pretty busted in
Yeah.
this situation.
Okay, so Oklahoma State, if they
Right.
turn around and over the next 3 weeks beat TCU, Texas Tech, and then Oklahoma, and Oklahoma still undefeated, I think that they would jump Oklahoma, obviously, and potentially get in depending on some other factors that happen with other teams. Wake Forest. Wake Forest has not played a ranked team so far this year, but then they get NC State this week, which is going to be ranked, and magically Clemson's going to be ranked next week because they're going to be 7-3. Everybody's like, "Oh well, the season's not so bad." 7-3 because they play UConn this week, so they
Right.
get a layup, and then they're going to be ranked 24th, 25th next week. So which is going to give Wake Forest another potential for a top 25 win, and I think that that Wake Forest is in a similar situation as Oklahoma State, where they're going to need a lot of help, but
Yeah.
their schedule on the way out is going to give them a shot. And then there is the Texas A&M, because there is an outside shot that Texas A&M could get into the SEC championship game, and if they get in and beat Georgia, it's gonna they're gonna jump. They're gonna be the first 2-loss team to get in the playoff.
Assuming a couple of other things. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess if you knocked the number one team off and you were the first out last year, I
Well,
guess
and see, I think it has more to do with how like how big, well, how good people look at Georgia as being.
I look at them as being uh, head and shoulders above the field defensively and competitive enough offensively to justify the ranking as well. So with multiple quarterbacks, like they're firing on all cylinders right now. The one, so I guess what? So it's 9 of the top 10 have a shot, and you're saying you would include A&M as well. I'm not including Wake Forest. The amount of chaos that would have to happen to get Wake Forest in, it's just it's cartoonish. Who does the ACC champ play if uh will they play like SEC number 3 or something?
Oh, in the Orange Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's SEC 2 or SEC 3.
So it's either probably going to be what like NC State or Wake Forest against Texas A&M is my guess. On how that one shakes out. I don't know. Fiesta
Well,
will probably get a Big
okay.
12, and so you probably have like your Oklahoma Notre Dame,
Mhm.
and I don't know. I think the best odds are the 4 teams that you see there now.
Yep. No, I agree with you, but if well, actually the I don't, in the sense of, I think if Alabama loses to Georgia in the SEC championship, I think they're done. I think they're done. As much as people want to give Alabama the benefit of the doubt, them having 2 losses while you have 2 undefeated teams potentially, 1 loss Oregon, 1 loss Ohio State, 1 loss potentially. Well, actually, you would have to have a 2 loss Michigan and a 2 loss Michigan State in that scenario. But yeah, it's going to be, or a 1 loss Wake Forest. It's going to be hard to put a 2 loss Alabama team in the playoff above those teams, especially when like games have to matter, and you can't just say, oh, oh man, listen, Alabama's a really good team. They're so talented.
True.
I would bet against. They would be Vegas would have them favorites over these teams. Well, they've lost twice, so that goes into most deserving versus the best teams. And I, for one, pretty much look at the most deserving as the best teams. Like that, the best teams win their games. The best teams don't lose their games. So the
So
idea that
who to you are the 4 best teams in college football right now,
the 4 best teams.
regardless of record? 4 best teams.
Okay, I'm gonna go Georgia won because there's nothing to say that they're not, and they haven't slipped up, haven't had a blemish. I would put Oklahoma in there. Not this is not in order. And I know Oklahoma hasn't looked great all the time, but they find a way to win.
Yeah.
And then I would go Oregon and Alabama, with Ohio State probably fifth.
Okay. So yeah, you got Cincinnati outside the top 5.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think that they can beat any of those teams. But well, actually, that's a lie. I believe Cincinnati can beat those teams in a 1 game scenario. But if they were put in their conference situations, I don't think that Cincinnati is 9-0. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, anybody who like us who follows the Pac-12 is going to have that opinion because we've never seen it done
Right?
ever.
Yeah.
It's never happened.
Yeah, somebody going undefeated, bro. Because and that's
Right.
partially the Pac-12's fault because of the way that they schedule. Like they don't schedule to protect their best teams.
Right. Well, there is only one instance, I believe, in which a team lost its 9th game, went 8-0 into Game 9. Was that Oregon ASU 2 years ago?
Oh God.
Were they 8-0 or did they have
No,
another
no,
game
no, no,
after
no,
that?
no. They had one more game after that because they had the
So
Oregon
they're
State game.
7-0. Okay,
Yeah.
so we haven't even had anybody go 8-0 and then drop.
Yep.
So even if you said like, oh, there should only be 8 conference games, it changes nothing in the Pac-12's history.
Yep. Um,
That's the worst.
yeah. So and yeah, and I just think that this definitely impacts college football playoff expansion because if you are the teams that are leaving the AAC and BYU and going over to the Big 12, you're not going to sign up for, but with Texas and Oklahoma, the bell cow's leaving, going to the SEC. Now, people are going to look at you as a lesser conference. So if I'm them, there's not a chance in hell I sign up for an expanded college football playoff that doesn't include a guaranteed bid for my conference.
I think there should be a guaranteed bid for the 5 major conferences,
Yep.
a guaranteed group of 5 spot, and then I think you could bring back the BCS for 7 and 8.
Oh, just sit up there and let the computers decide. But then
Let the computers decide the order of the overall 8 and who 7 and 8 are.
I don't like that. And the reason why is because of the way that the computers are set up, right? The computers are set up to favor the name brands, right? Like favorite. Because if you go to the S&P Plus for last week, after week 8, right? I'm not after this last week, after the week prior, after the week before. They had, after everybody had played 7 games, they had Florida ranked 5th. Clemson at 4-3 ranked 4th.
But that's the middle of the season. There's going to be enough data by the end of it all that
Okay. So now they have oh god. The S&P for this week still has like Clemson ranked highly. They have, and when you go to the college football power index, they have Georgia 1, Bama 2, Ohio State 3, Oklahoma 4, Michigan 5, Iowa State 6, Pittsburgh 7, Clemson 8, Cincinnati 9, Wisconsin 10, all the way down. They have Utah ranked 7 spots in front of Oregon, 7 or 8 spots. And guess who else is in front of them? 4 and 5 Florida, 4 and 5 Texas. Bro, like what? And 2 spots behind them, you have 5 and 4 Miami. Bro, like and 4 spots behind that, 3 and 7 Nebraska. Like, what are we talking about here? Like these.
it sounds like a high school. It sounds like a high school football playoff poll. But if you're just talking about the top 8 spots or the order of the teams within the 8, I don't think a formula is going to cause too much grief. And then maybe again, I'm underestimating the whininess of mankind.
Yep. I mean, okay. Let's see what the Sagarin ratings say, because it'll be interesting to see what Jeff Sagarin's, who was his rankings were included in the college football in the BCS. So he's got Georgia 1, Bama 2, Ohio State 3, Oklahoma 4, Michigan 5, Oklahoma State 6, Texas A&M 7, Notre Dame 8, Wisconsin 9, Cincinnati 10, and then Penn State, Iowa State, Ole Miss, Auburn, then Oregon, then Clemson. Like what? Baylor and Wake Forest are all the way down at 20 and 21, and Michigan State is 24.
But
24.
You eliminate a lot of the issues with something like that if you have auto bids. So him having Cincinnati at 10 wouldn't matter. They'd be in.
Michigan State is at 24.
But if they won the Big Ten, they'd be in.
I understand that, but
the only path forward even now would be the Michigan State to win the Big Ten.
Correct, but the point is that I don't trust these computer models because when they are built to put the number 1 team number 1. Like they are built to factor in things that
So you have a
favor.
college football playoff committee to pick the order of the 8 and the 7 and 8 team.
Yes, correct. Which is the 18 playoff, which but the from everything that I heard that the SEC is not going to go for a 12 team playoff.
I don't think there should be a 12.
I don't think so either because then four teams get buys and this is football. People get hurt. So no, I hate that. I hate
Right.
that
You
idea.
have people, you have the opportunity for like the ninth ranked team to potentially play 3 games if all goes well. And that ninth ranked team is going to have a bunch of kids who are weighing whether or not to play in a bowl game anyway to go pro. The three games is two is fine. We should never move beyond that. You got 12 regular season games plus a conference championship plus 2 extra. 15 games is the most you just don't. I mean, because then that's going to increase to 20 as soon as they get to the NFL. And and how are they going to hold up? You stealing a game here and there against high level competition. I don't think it's good for their prospects long term. So especially if they're not getting paid.
Yep. Speaking of getting paid though, people are getting paid more in America now. So that means that we're all rich, right, Ralph?
Not if you have to buy things.
Okay, so Ralph did a little bit of a dive and paid attention to inflation because this is all impacting us right now. Gas is high as hell right now. It is super expensive. I'm getting ready to sell my new car to just get an electric car, but there's not a big enough one for me at this point in time. But as soon as there is, it's gone, bro. It is actually I may buy another car just so I don't have to put gas in my Navigator.
just get just get yourself like an Elantra.
Yeah. So I can drive around on a daily basis. And
That's
then when I
funny.
need to shuttle the kids around, we will get in the SUV.
That's hilarious. It's rough, man. I'm gonna run some numbers by you. Uh, Energy costs in the last year, on average, on the whole, up 30%. Gasoline is the heaviest there. It's up nearly 50%. Natural gas prices also increasing. Heating oil is blowing up. And Americans are expected to spend 30% more on natural gas and 43% more on heating oil this winter than they did last winter. Overall consumer goods from October 2020 to October 2021 up 6.2%. Um, Fast food prices are skyrocketing. That could be due to increased wages, or it could be supply issues. But from October 2020 to October 2021, fast food is up 7%. What else is home prices? So you're in LA, home prices year over year, they were already
Bro,
pretty damn high,
I looked at
18%.
I looked at what my home was worth on Zillow and it's almost doubled since 2050. Well, it's gone up like 50% basically in the last year. And we considered selling, right?
Oof. Yeah.
Because the house is almost worth double what we paid for it since 2016, since January of 2016. So now the question is, do we sell it and go rent a house for a couple of years, for like a year or so until prices come down, or just because going to go buy another house, what good does that do? Because all the money that we made off of this house, we would then have to go spend it on a newer house.
That was the big predicament with everybody over the last year that I talked to was, yeah, I'd love to sell my house and take that equity, but then what am I going to do with it? I'm in this marketplace competing with everybody else, competing with investors. We actually did it, but we didn't care whether or not we came out on top or anything like that. It was a lifestyle move. Erin wanted to be in the South. She wanted to be in Charlotte. She wanted to have seasons. She wanted to have more mild weather. access to camping and the beach, just like we had in Arizona, but without it being 150 degrees. And so she picked Charlotte. Well, year over year, the cost of housing here is up 21%. Phoenix, where I came from, up 31%. LA, where you're at, just LA in general, is up 18% year over year. So you have a giant jump in home prices. You have a giant jump in food prices. I think my wife said she went to the grocery store the other day. Think about it just on the micro level, it might not seem like a really big deal, but she went to the grocery store yesterday, bought Cascade dishwasher pods,
Yep, I use those.
$5 increase from the last time she bought them, $13 to $18 just for that one item.
Well, part of that is the supply and demand. I was just talking to Denisha about this the other day. Um is that it's the well, in addition to the prices, right? That
Yeah,
that the prices are going up because the demand is so high for these things because there are so many cargo ships and crates and those big metal containers that are literally stuck on boats in the ocean, stuck on boats that the port is backed up for weeks upon weeks or months or however long it is. And it's not just the one here, it's other ports all over the place. So now,
it's
like,
affecting weird stuff too.
how
Like
many times have you ordered something from Amazon lately? Because we have an Amazon delivery business. Packages are super light right now, and they should be heavier. But the problem is that how many times have you ordered something from Amazon now and it's been canceled or
oh, for sure,
delayed?
for sure, for sure. I mean, here just some real world examples. Example number one: our dog got neutered last week. There were no cones. They said that all the cones that are delivered to the vet offices to put on dogs after they have a surgery so they don't like irritate the wound are all stuck on a shipment. So no dog cones. Here's another real world example. We got a bid to have the gutters on our house replaced in May.
Yeah.
$2,300. We told them, cool, we'll do it in October. We called the guy October 1st and said, hey, we're good to go. And he's like, materials jumped. It's $2,850 now. $550 increase in 5 months. We have a neighbor that just moved here from Africa. He had to ship his stuff on a container ship. Normally, that container ship would just go straight from Africa to the United States. But because everything's so backed up, it had to make a stop in China to pick up a bunch of Christmas goods. They moved here at the end of April. Their furniture got here last week. That's what, 6 months of having their furniture on a ship? It's crazy how many just the real world example. And you brought up cars. Cars is the crazy one right now because rental companies sold off all their rental car stock in order to not go out of business because nobody was traveling, therefore nobody was renting cars. Well, then everybody started traveling again, and guess what they couldn't get? Rental cars. But then demand
Dude,
for
I've
vehicles
been
went
there.
up.
I have been there. And part of that, because people are like, how is there a shortage of rental cars? So what if they don't have new cars? They had the same old cars. Well, the issue is that the way rental car businesses are set up, the cars can only drive for a certain amount of miles. And then they go sell those cars. So it's the way that their business model is set up that they have to get rid of those cars at a certain amount of time.
We got so and it's so just used cars over 1 year, 30% increase in the price of a used car. And it's not just cars, it's all vehicles, recreational vehicles, Airstreams, all that stuff is all increased. And the price of new cars has also jumped like 5% year over year. So, and I think the typical inflation year over year for cars is 2.5. So that doubled. And then beyond all that, I got an email this morning from my kid's school, George. You know what it said?
Nope. What? Oh, the bus drivers?
Oh, the bus driver's already happening. My kids just didn't even get picked up this morning. So that's already a thing. Like labor shortages. I think everybody's aware of the labor shortages. No, this is the email I got from the school this morning. There are no more hamburgers.
Wait, what?
Hamburgers, there are no more. So,
This feels like when the pandemic was going on, and then there were, well, actually, not that the pandemic's over, but that when the pandemic was in its, in full throes, that when the factories started having issues, and then there was meat shortages, and then you start seeing weird brands of chicken show up in the grocery store. There are no wings to be found. No
yeah,
wings
yeah.
to be found.
So this is my question. This is my question. So they said no more hamburgers. We're substituting uh like meatballs, which is like the same thing. But uh here's my question. Do you think that the school district got priced out of hamburgers, or do you think that there's just no
I think they
that
got
the
priced
supply's
out.
down?
I
That's what I'm
think it's a
wondering.
I think it's both, that they got priced out because the supply is down.
And what's interesting is Charlotte Mecklenburg School District, where my kids go, part of the money that came from the relief funds from the federal government uh, made it so that lunch and breakfast at the school are free for this entire school year.
Yeah.
So it's already funded. So what they're saying is beyond even having it already paid for by the federal government, they still don't have the ability to buy hamburger patties. It makes me wonder how much more stuff is this going to happen with. And I know a lot of people who run retail businesses, they're having trouble with their suppliers, they're having trouble with their own inventory, and it could be anything: textiles, cloth, chemicals. We had somebody come out in April to fix our pool, and they recommended that we convert it to salt water because there's a run on chlorine tablets, making them almost impossible to find and causing them to triple in price. Chlorine tabs.
Yep. Dude.
What? So where is this headed? I guess is my question.
Bro, I have no idea, because the idea that people made a living wage, right? Like that, a living wage that you used to be able to work a 9 to 5 at minimum wage and be able to actually live.
Right.
That's it. That's an issue. Is that if you have a hardworking person, like somebody who shows up to work
Yeah.
40 hours a week, like, you aren't asking for handouts. You're not, trying to game the system. You're actually trying to work. And it takes like three of you to be able to afford like a one bedroom apartment, or a normally a median priced house. Like, just to be able to rent it is absolutely asinine, dude. So the fact that the price of all these goods are going up is with inflation, is causing a bigger issue, which then creates more homelessness, creates more lack, and the more that goes up, the more the disparity between the haves and the have-nots goes up. Guess what happens? Crime goes up,
Yeah.
because people are like, I can't get it. I got to get it some kind of way.
Right. What's crazy is at the same time, it's still like destitute but functional in America is still uh, levels above what a lot of other people go through. So it's really, really hard for us to empathize when somebody has an $800 phone and a PS5, but they just got the box spring on the ground of a studio apartment that they have to work 80 hours a week to be able to pay rent on because they can't buy a home because they're competing with investors, because appraisers are just going out and rubber stamping all these home prices, and which is putting people outside of the range of a loan that they can even take out, which means that all those people who miss out on buying homes are stuck having to rent from those investors. And you just have this massive transfer of wealth happening. And I wonder, you look at cities like Mumbai or different places in India where you like the stark difference between the haves and have-nots is, shanties next to giant towers with Ferraris parked on the 100th floor. Are we on our way to that? And how would we slow it down? Anybody who is not alarmed by what is happening right now, I'm not saying like panic because I don't even know what that would do for you. But definitely be paying attention. Definitely be helping your neighbors. I remember the last time that this happened, last time there was a major economic crisis, one of the things that took off was Groupon,
Yeah.
right? Like Groupon and all those deal things to like where people were putting out loss leader deals to even get people in the door to try their businesses. But when we have hyperinflation, can those people even afford to do loss leaders to get people to come in and stuff like that? So I don't know what the answer is, but I do know that like if I who don't go anywhere or really do anything, if I've got 20 real world examples just from the last 6 months of prices skyrocketing, I know every other American that's having to purchase anything probably does too. And I just can't all be sustainable. It can't.
Yep, for sure. And so we will continue to talk about this because this is something that's impacting all of us. Um, Now, there was a debate that is still raging on my Twitter about an incident that happened the other night in an NBA game. And I was like, I did not think that this was gonna. I mean, I got called all sorts of names. I got called a savage. I got called a maniac and everything else because I agreed with what happened in the situation. So I'll let you guys watch it. This is Nikola Jokic getting into it with is it Markieff or Marcus Morris?
This one's a Markieff.
Yeah, with Markieff Morris. And the Morris twins, they're kind of dirty players. Like they take cheap shots. They like to look at themselves as the quote unquote enforcers in the league, you know. And
I got a question for you though. Are the Morris twins dirty or are they a throwback? And I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt here. Like, are they like Lambeer era enforcers? Or
no, because when you hit them back, they act like they died. That automatically. So imagine Bill Lambier or John Sally or Anthony Mason Oakley hitting somebody and then somebody hit them back and then they laid on the floor and acted like they died.
Yeah. No, I don't. I'm not arguing in favor of the Morris twins. I was just wondering if there's any possibility that they're actually tough. Okay.
Nope. Okay. Here it is.
Oh, Jokic was there. Nuggets have 5 on 4. And Jokic. Oh, no! No!
Watch Jimmy Butler here. Comes up.
Keep the players on the bench.
Does a grand total of nothing.
No.
Look at Marcus Morris on the ground, acting like he's dead. Dude, get your ass up.
Not sure what set Jokic off.
Dude, he was adding so much drama to that to try to get this to be a big deal. And I tweeted the video out and I said, I love this for you.
Maybe. They definitely have not. Markieff and Marcus have not garnered the reputation for being the most intelligent players, which is, I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter, like people pushing back and saying like, it's your white privilege is speaking if you're calling these guys dumb or thugs or any of that. Like, no, I think that there's enough people who've watched enough basketball who could tell you exactly what the Morris twins are about. Bouncing the basketball off people's faces, shoving people, pushing people. Like, they are agitators. They're not enforcers.
Correct.
They're agitators. And I think not to give the old heads footing with the, no one could play in the 90s era, they die, that whole thing. But I think that the NBA definitely is more streamlined. And if you want to call that softer, you can. There's a lot less nonsense because the thing that people want to see is they don't want to see a lot of interrupted action, which is why we've had some of the rule changes that we've had. But I think that the Morris twins take advantage of the fact that that's not part of the game anymore to stand up.
Yes. Bruh, this was
that's not they're not necessarily tough, but for now, for what we have, I guess that's the label
Okay.
you would give them. I don't know if dirty is fair. I just think that they aren't good enough to not play this way.
Okay, here is the you mean like Pat Bev.
Yes. Pat Bev is not good enough, which is crazy because sometimes you see some of the stuff because of his handles and you're like, how are you not more like Cuttino Mobley? But aside from that, Pat Bev, the Morris twins, they are not good enough to get 34 minutes a night just playing ball.
No.
They gotta get you in the mud. And they do a pretty good job of it. But if you're gonna cry on the ground because you got shoved in the back, which Pat Bev did to Chris Paul last year.
Dude, see, here's the thing is, he went and attacked Jokic. That was not a regular foul. He could have hurt Jokic. And then he turned his back because he thought if I turn my back, he can't do anything. And Jokic was like, all right. And then here's the elephant in the room. Here's the thing that people really don't want to talk about. Is that Jokic, yes, he's an Eastern European player, but when you see him, he's white, right? He's a white player. And he's not a white American player, but he's a white player. You have a white player and you have a black player. And the black player automatically is like, listen, I'm a little bit tougher than this white dude. Let's just be real about how people think about things, regardless of it's true or not. That's what he thinks in his mind. And now Jokic is got to be sensitive to that. And he's like, okay, listen, because if I let Morris do that to me, other people are going to try me like that too. So now people are going to be like, nah. And this 1-game suspension that Jokic got, which I said he was going to get, was absolutely worth it. But he knows that he can't get kicked out of games because he's the most important player on their team, one of the most important players in the NBA. So he can't do it as the season goes on. But I guarantee you, though, that people stop trying to punk him.
This is the second time in 10 games he's pulled this shit, though.
Hey.
And both times, because I am a little bit worried for Jokic keeping his temper under control. Both times when he took the swing at Campaign and when he laid out Markieff, they cut to him, and he's got this look in his eye like he's a soulless Kodiak.
Oh, yeah. To where he's like to where he doesn't even.
Where it's
you
full
mean
instinct
like he
took
blacked
over.
out?
Yes, that is what. If you look at if you ever seen anybody do it, the look on Nikola Jokic's face is that look.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then he's got to have something in his bag, because if it was what he said it was, him protecting himself, and if it's what you said it was, him doing something that he just had to do, fine. If you're telling me that he was completely under control, but that camera cuts to his face and you're like, was he? Because he is an intimidating man. He really is. He's just big and he's physical, but he's also finesse, which if you translate that athleticism to if you actually had to scrap, you're probably going to have a problem. The one thing that has been completely overblown in this is the involvement of both sets of brothers. Because Marcus got on Twitter, fired some shit off, and then the Jokic brothers started a Twitter account to fire some shit off. I don't care about the Jokic brothers up in the stands acting like they're going to fight somebody. Like, they get banned from the building forever. It's not worth it. If you actually like watching your brother play, knock that shit off. Marcus, on the other hand, that was corny because he's not going to do. Marcus is not going to do anything.
Dude, the
Markieff's not going to do anything.
Dude, the Miami team showed up to the locker room like they were going to jump Jokic. Like, bro, stop.
Extremely
It was so lame.
Performative. Extremely performative. Led by the ringmaster of performative antics, Jimmy Butler. And I've said it. You and I have got into it on this show a couple of times because I think that Jimmy Butler is a wonderful entertainer, and the NBA is entertainment business. And his facial expressions and the shit that he talks and the way he throws his teammates under the bus and the way he bounces from city to city and the way that he gives effort once every 3 games, then has everybody in NBA Twitter talking about how he's the most underrated player on the planet. Like, all that stuff is so goofy to me. He's fine. He's a good basketball player, but like, just because he's good at facial expressions doesn't mean he's better than he is. Then Miami would be better than they are. He is the most performative dude. And if you like the drama, and I do, then I am thankful to him for that. But anytime somebody turns around and confuses that for actual toughness, what has he ever done? Besides talk shit to Rachel Nichols about a 21-year-old.
Damn, bro.
I just want to know what he's done. Give me his resume.
Bro,
he's tough because he couldn't hack it in Chicago or Minnesota or Philadelphia. That's toughness.
He was the one that was trying to get all the right things done in those places, and his teammates weren't ready.
Right. So that's my question to you. Toughness is not being able to handle 2 Zoomers on your team?
In Jimmy Butler's world, yeah, sure.
Like,
nobody else wanted to play hard like Jimmy.
Jimmy Butler is tough like the people who go to dinner at 4 p.m. are tough because they don't want to be around people that are younger than them. The same people who get in your restaurant and ask you to turn down or up the thermostat.
Bro, all right. So was Jokic in the right or the wrong for this?
Wrong. Wrong. You can't. He should have said, "Hey, Markieff," and then did it. Like the from behind thing. Even Jokic has said,
dude, he attacked him from where he couldn't see him. He didn't go from the front. He side attacked him.
Basketball play.
Here's the thing in life is that if you are going to attack somebody, right? And I'm a fair fight believer, right? I'm a fair fight. If you do something to me, I'm not going to hit you in the back, all of these things. But if you do certain things, you have given up your rights to fair fights. If you attack me while I'm not waiting, right? I mean, while I'm not ready, you have then forfeited all rights to a fair fight.
Okay, but it was a hard foul within the context of the game.
Okay, so you have forfeited your hard foul rights because now I'm escalating. Like whatever happens back, that's not my problem. It's above me now. It's above me now.
Can't you just do something else though? Like I'm not. I don't know.
Go pick up a chair and hit him with it.
No, just like
low bridge him.
No, post-game
elbow to the face.
In the post-game interview, if Jokic had called him,
no, dude, no. There's no words that can fix this.
What if he called him Markieff, and then everyone called him Markieff forever?
Nope.
If Nikola Jokic called him Markieff Morris in a post-game interview, and then
he was like, hey yo, the soft man hit me. It didn't even hurt. It was like a queef, like from Markieff Morris.
Yeah, your Serbian accent is fantastic, by the way. But I'm saying, like, there are other ways. If the NBA MVP calls you a queef, then so is everybody else. They're just gonna follow, and then everybody's giving him shit. Now, I think that there's just sympathy out there for Markieff Morris that shouldn't be there. Yeah. I think Jokic lost his temper. That's my issue.
I agree with that too, but it's hard not to in those situations. But here's the thing is, other people know now that he will lose his temper, so now you may be able to get him out of his game.
Twice in like 10 games because the campaign thing happened right before they got eliminated. If he had knocked Markieff on his face and then dabbed after and started laughing, then it'll be like, oh, okay. It's completely under control in this situation.
Yeah, he chose violence.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
instead he laid out Markieff and then he went and created space for himself so he didn't accidentally commit a murder.
All right.
All while Jimmy Butler's barking at him like a poodle barking at the mailman.
All right. So now, speaking of poodles barking at mailmen, you have in the NBA, you have NBA guards who are very upset with the new rules, except for Steph Curry, who scored 50 points with the new rules.
Did you catch Atlanta's announcer saying, like, what's the big deal with scoring 50?
Yeah.
Why'd he do this to us?
He was like, I don't understand why players act like scoring 50 is such a big deal. 48, 50. It's a round number. 50's a big ass deal, bro. 40's a big deal. 50's a bigger deal. 60's an amazing deal. Bro, I don't understand. I don't get it. Dude, that was bitter beer face all day.
It was because he calls games with Trae Young on the team.
Yeah. So, but now you have so many guys in the league like James Harden, Lillard, shooting so poorly because they aren't getting these cheap fouls and free throws, and the game is rougher again. It's being officiated more like FIBA rules. I love it, Ralph. I could not love this anymore. Stop these freaking free throw shooting contests in the NBA. Make people go get buckets and stop exploiting the rules. This makes me happy.
Did you see James Harden bitch out a couple days ago?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He didn't even know what to do. Dude, have you noticed there is nobody in the NBA averaging 30 points right now because they're not getting a billion free throws.
You know what's crazy about that Harden clip is everyone's like, oh man, Harden's done. Harden's career is over. Not only did they win that game, he had a triple-double, but all anybody remembers is the fact that he dribbled out the clock, didn't go after the ball, and then got yammed on. Nobody remembers the fact that they won the game and that he facilitated the win.
Yep.
People are convinced that James Harden's cooked. I don't think he is. I think it's going to take time.
Dude, nobody is averaging 10 free throws a game. Nobody. The highest one is Giannis at 9.5, and that makes sense. And then the next highest is Jimmy Butler, your guy, at 8.8. I love it, dude, because there's no way in hell that you should have a dude who doesn't live in the paint shooting the most free throws in the no reason in hell a guard should be leading the league in free throw attempts. Like, I need somebody who scores pretty much all their points in the paint like Giannis does.
Yeah, what I worry about is like my guy DeAndre Ayton already averages only like 3 free throws a game. He's never getting to the line again.
And that's his own fault because there's no reason why a dude that good should not be getting to the free throw line. But
he's a finesse player who jumps straight up and down.
But isn't this better for the NBA though?
I don't know. If people adjust, if people don't adjust and these stars go out sad, that's not good for the NBA.
They are going to adjust, which is gonna make a better playoff product. Dude, there's nobody averaging 30 points. James Harden could be averaging like 36 right now if he were getting more free throws. But instead, you have Damian Lillard, who's not even the highest scoring player on his team right now because he can't adjust to the rules. And then he was like, listen, these rules are stupid. I don't like them. And I'm a Lillard fan. He's like, because I don't do the little cheap trick stuff. Yes, you do. There's plenty of footage of you, and you should have because that's the way the game was being called. But now this is great.
If defenders aren't afraid of the cheap stuff getting called, then they can get up on you more, and that's what's affecting some of these other shooters a little bit more. But you have guys that are on a tear right now, regardless. Paul George.
Yeah, because guys can actually contest a shot now without getting a foul. Like, right. So you couldn't even contest shots.
But I'm saying your guy Pandemic P, he is figuring it out.
Yes, because he's like, I'm going to go get buckets which is what the other guys have to do. But guess what? It's harder for smaller guys to score right now, and all of that. That's not my problem. All right.
You really hate the little guys unless they're Steph Wardell, Stephen Curry.
I love Steph.
from Davidson.
What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying.
I
He's
love
your
Dame.
exception.
I love Dame.
Okay. Would you trade Westbrook for Dame?
Yes.
Would you have traded Westbrook for Dame 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
cool.
he's a better shooter. Dude, he can actually Westbrook rebounds, plays hard. Love Westbrook, but I would take Dame.
I've been, I don't know, probably 40 times a day. I watch that clip of Westbrook shooting a ball off the top of the backboard because whoever was calling the game was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Bro.
Imagine reacting that way to a missed shot.
Bro, that was one of the most. Dude, I thought it, because we're watching it from the back, I thought that the ball had to be tipped. I was like, there's no way he shot the ball this poorly. No way.
That's what makes that Markieff clip so funny is the, oh no.
Yeah. All right. Final thing up. Ralph's favorite owner in the NBA, Robert Sarver, now has a problem. The ESPN article finally dropped accusing him of racism, misogyny, all the ists. He hit all the magic buttons, according to this article. He's denying it vehemently. And he's got Earl Watson against him, a whole bunch of other credible people, but then he's also got some people like James Jones in his corner, but then James Jones hasn't been there that long, and he's the general manager, and he felt like when he put out his statement, it felt like a hostage statement that he had to put it out because the owner asked him to, and he's like, well, he hadn't done anything racist to me. So if you're the NBA, how do you handle this?
This is the worst, man, because it's all word of mouth. There's no recordings. I know that everybody's tweeting out that clip of Sarver at a roast, but that had already been reported months ago of him making like terrible jokes at a roast. And I didn't look at that as like misogyny or...
It's a roast, bro. Like you're allowed to, like that's a safe space for you to do inappropriate things.
But
say
still have
inappropriate things.
You definitely still have to take into context like your station in life. And he said a couple of things that I was more concerned with, like, oh my God, this guy is as bad at roasting as he is at owning the Phoenix Suns. He was bombing. He made a joke, and it was like, and it wasn't just a roast, George. It was a funeral. It was a funeral roast. That's what his friend wanted at his funeral, was a roast. And the way that he tried to make people laugh was saying that their departed loved one nutted in Steve Nash's socks. Like, I don't know. I did go through on Twitter and I searched every time anybody ever tweeted anything about Steve Nash's socks, and I retweeted them all last night because that's the way my brain works. But anyway, like, that was a roast. These are allegations of how his interpersonal communication, his management style, that he's verbally abusive, that he's demanding, that he is the ignorant kind of racist is what I took from this. Yeah. Like that comment where he said, I don't like diversity. People were like, that's proof right there that he is racist. But he was saying it as a business owner. Well, he's basically saying, like, I don't like diversity of thought. I want everybody to be a yes man. Because in the same breath, they're saying that he turned around and said, these N-words need an N-word as a coach. And that's why he hired Lindsey Hunter over Dan Marley. He's coming off, George, I don't know, to me, he came off from all this witness testimony and everything like that. He came off as a real life Michael Scott. And people might think to themselves, but The Office was funny. Not if it's real.
Not if it's real. dude, or
The Office is funny because it's
wait,
not
no,
real.
no.
If Scott's
He
Tots
doesn't
was
even,
real, my skin is melting thinking of Scott's Tots right now.
dude. He doesn't even. No. If this were The Office, based upon what everybody said, Robert Sarver would not be Michael Scott. He would be Michael's friend who came in.
David Keckner, got whammy from Anchorman. That guy.
Yes, yeah. What's his name in the show?
I can't remember. Bob. No, not Bob Vance. That's Bob Vance Refrigeration. But like Michael Scott did the like guess your race thing. He did the Chris Rock bit, getting in trouble for quoting the Chris Rock bit directly.
Why, every time.
Like it very much feels like Robert Sarver is being accused of having no social bearing and being gross about like things of a sexual nature, inappropriate, overreaching, like Michael Scott talking about Jan's boobs to The Office, like type thing, and not understanding why he can't say the N-word. Extremely bizarre. Then you had the extra accusation thrown in by Jalen Rose saying that he said it recently about DeAndre Ayton, and now you have DeAndre Ayton missing games. But I don't know. But then you have the conspiracy theorists coming out of the woodwork because there's only 32 NBA owners. There's one minority owner, or at least managing partner here in Charlotte in Michael Jordan. And then all of a sudden you have one of the Suns' minority owners not signing any of the statements, John Najafi, who has a net worth of $3 billion and a business that he runs with Colin Kaepernick as a co-chair. Then all of a sudden they're sitting courtside the game after all this breaks.
Yeah.
And now you have people coming out of the woodworks to saying this whole thing is orchestrated. There is no video outside of the roast. There's no, it's Earl Watson's word and a bunch of people who are anonymous. And now Robert Sarver's wife is doing the least advisable thing in the history of the world.
DMing people to express her disappointment, which looked like threatening.
Why just, if something happens to my husband or kids, I'm going to hold you and Earl Watson responsible? She's telling that to some random woman.
Yeah.
Robert Sarver really think his kids are going to have something violent happen to them? I don't know,
man. Oh, but the Office character, Todd Packer.
What would you do? What would you do if you're Adam Silver? Look, I've had to deal with Robert Sarver for the last forever. I don't care for him. I think that he's socially and situationally inept, and I think that his priority has been revenue. And I think that he started to show some improvement. He still overreaches. He's still weird. He still tries to draw up plays. That thing in the article where he made assistant coaches stand up and clap more, very weird. He is a terrible owner. And the fact that we even went to the finals is insane with him as the owner. But at the same time, is there enough in here for something to be done? I don't see it.
Yeah.
Because it's all word of mouth. It's not, I don't think the Donald Sterling thing would have happened unless there was audio.
Yeah, correct. Unless there's a smoking gun, I think he's in the clear as far as forced to sell the team. Like, yeah, people are going to look at him in the side eye, but he's going to have to watch everything that he says from now on, nobody.
He's mentoring Larry Fitzgerald as a part owner of the Phoenix Suns, and Larry Fitzgerald is beloved in Arizona and included on these statements. James Jones is beloved in Arizona. He's included on these statements. He co-owns a soccer club with Steve Nash. You haven't seen Steve Nash come out against him. You haven't seen the players say anything, and Chris Paul has been through this before. So it's like everybody is in wait and see mode. But if the allegations are true, he probably shouldn't have the privilege of owning a team.
Yep. No, I agree with you there, buddy. Totally agree.
especially if you don't have the ability to sign clutch clients.
And clutch clients are very important.
That's like having a water and ice, and you're not allowed to sell ice cubes.
Exactly. All right. Well, you guys, that is right or wrong for the day. I'm George Wrighster. He's Ralph Amsden. Yeah, so we're like in trading places right now. All right, peace out. Catch you